Last class we have seen different types of solid fuels and different types of liquid fuels, and also we have seen different types of gaseous fuels. Now let us summarize all types of solid fuels and all types of liquid fuels in a single table. If you, as you can see in this table, here different types of solid fuels are there: peat, lignite, bituminous, and anthracite. Here on vertical column it shows carbon mass percentage, hydrogen mass percentage, and oxygen mass percentage, and ash mass percentage. Now let us see one by one. If we look at the peat solid fuel, it has carbon content mass percentage 43%, hydrogen mass percentage is 6.4, oxygen 44, ash 4. And if you look at the lignite solid fuel, it has carbon mass percentage 56, hydrogen mass percentage 5.7, oxygen 32, and ash 4.25. And if you look at the bituminous solid fuel, here carbon mass percentage 74, hydrogen 6 percentage, oxygen 13, ash 4.75. The other type of solid fuel is anthracite. It has carbon percentage 90, hydrogen 3.3, ash 2.5, and ash 2.97. Okay, as you can see here, among all four solid fuels, anthracite has the highest carbon mass percentage. As we know that most of the energy releases from the carbon, so anthracite will have more energy and more calorific value. When we burn the 1 kg of the anthracite, it will give more energy when compared to peat, lignite, bituminous, because anthracite has the higher carbon mass percentage, that is 90%. Now let us see calorific values in all solid fuels. So here the last row is the calorific value in megajoules per kg. In case of peat solid fuel, the calorific value is 13.4 megajoules per kg. For lignite, 10.3 megajoules per kg. Bituminous, 30.5 megajoules per kg. Anthracite, 33.5 megajoules per kg. So generally in boilers they use bituminous solid fuel or anthracite solid fuel, because these two solid fuels have higher calorific value, 30.5 and 33.5 respectively. Now let us discuss characterization of fuel. Fuels can be characterized by two methods: analysis of fuels, calorific value of the fuel. Calorific value of the fuel we have already discussed in the previous class. Now let us see analysis of fuel. Again, analysis of fuels are two methods: proximate analysis, ultimate analysis. Now let us see first one, proximate analysis. By using proximate analysis, we can determine moisture percentage, ash percentage, volatile matter percentage, and fixed carbon. To determine the moisture in the coal, they take 1 gram of coal and it will be heated in a furnace for 1 hour at 105 degrees centigrade. Then they check the weight of the coal. The weight loss is expressed in terms of percentage of moisture. Same way, to determine the ash in the coal, here also they take 1 gram of the coal. They do complete combustion. After complete combustion, there will be residue, that is the ash. Residue means it's like a waste. The other thing is volatile matter. To measure the or to determine the volatile matter in the coal, here also they take 1 gram of sample and it will be heated for 7 minutes in 950 degrees centigrade. So the weight loss is expressed in terms of volatile matter percentage. Finally, we can find the fixed carbon by using this formula. Fixed carbon equals to 100 minus percentage of moisture plus percentage of ash plus percentage of volatile. Okay, when we subtract all these three things from 100, we can find the fixed carbon in the coal. Now let us see other type of characterization, that is ultimate analysis. From ultimate analysis, here we can find all type of elements: carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, sulfur, ash, percentage of mass, and percentage of the oxygen. Percentage of the oxygen can be obtained by using this formula: 100 minus percentage of carbon plus percentage of hydrogen plus percentage of nitrogen plus percentage of sulfur plus percentage of ash. Ultimate analysis, it is also known as a element analysis, because from this analysis we are able to find the all the elements. Now let us see unit conversion: kilocalories per kg to megajoules per kg. So using this formula, we can convert the kilojoules per kg into megajoules per kg. That is, kilojoules per kg equals to megajoules per kg into 238.846. Now let us see the other topic: properties of liquid fuels. All liquid fuels have particular properties like flash point, fire point, and cloud point. These points are different for different fuels. Now let us see what is flash point and what is fire point. Fire point is the point minimum temperature at which liquid fuel will produce vapor, which means this is the lowest temperature at which liquid fuel will produce a vapor. So here we can see, so this is a flash point. This is the lowest temperature. At that particular temperature, the liquid fuel will burn. Generally, lower the flash point, the easier the ignite the material. Now the next important property is fire point. Fire point of a fuel is lowest temperature at which the vapor of that fuel will continue to burn for at least 5 seconds after ignition by an open flame of standard dimension, which means here the fuel will burn at least for 5 seconds after ignition. So here you can see in this figure the fuel is burning. The difference between flash point and fire point is, in flash point there is no continuous burning, but in fire point the fuel will burn at least 5 seconds continuously. That is the difference between flash point and fire point. Now let us see other properties of liquid fuels. Those are smoke and cloud point. Now let us see smoke. In smoke, it is the temperature at which an oil or fat begins to produce a continuous bluish smoke. Here you can see here in this figure bluish smoke that becomes clearly visible. Coming to cloud point, temperature at which wax crystal starts forming from a liquid fuel when it is cooled. When you go to cold countries or Himalayas, where starting engine is very difficult, so we have to avoid the cloud point. Now let us see experimental determination of higher calorific value using bomb calorimeter. Bomb calorimeter is the calorimeter which is used to find higher calorific value of the fuel. As you can see in this figure, so this is the bomb calorimeter. It will have a container and water jacket. This water jacket will place inside the container. Water jacket is filled with the water. The other part is bomb. This bomb it will keep inside the water jacket, and the other part is crucible. So here this is the crucible. It is connected to the electrical wires. So here it is like a cup shape it is there. Here we place the coal. When it is connected to the electricity, it will burn the coal. There will be complete combustion. That heat will transfer to the bomb material From the bomb it will transfer to the water bucket. Since water bucket has the water, the temperature of the water will increase. So here they will see the reading of the temperature in this instrument, temperature measurement. Here the principle is, by burning the fuel, it will generate a heat energy. That energy is transferred to the bomb. From the bomb it will transfer to the water, so that the water temperature will increase. It will measure the by using temperature measurement. Now let me show the video of the bomb calorimeter so that you can understand easily. Now let me show the video. Here you can see so he is preparing crucible pot. This is the crucible pot. Here you can see that is crucible pot. Now he is giving wire connection to the crucible pot. Now we can see here wire connection. So this is the crucible. Now inside the crucible he is filling the material, that is coal. Here you can see the crucible he placed inside the bomb. This is the bomb. Now this bomb is filled with the oxygen for a complete combustion of the coal. So this bomb is connected to the oxygen cylinder and filled with the oxygen for complete combustion. Here you can see the pressure reading. Now he is removing from the oxygen connection. Now this bomb is placing inside the water bucket. So this is the water bucket. Now he is filling the water bucket with the water. so that the heat will transfer from bomb to the water. The water temperature will raise, will measure the water temperature. Now he is giving electrical connection to the bomb. And he is closing the container. Then he is keeping one equipment. This equipment is temperature measure equipment. So it will measure the temperature of the water. Now once the connection given, the coal burn inside the bomb, that heat will transfer to the water. So to this equipment will measure the temperature of the water. Here in this equipment we can see the temperature. So far we have seen and discussed about different types of fuels. Now let us see combustion of fuels. Now let us see what is combustion. Combustion of fuels may be defined as chemical combination of oxygen in the atmospheric air and hydrocarbons, which means when fuel interacted with the oxygen in atmospheric air, there will be combustion. The other term is element. What is element? Element is a pure substance which cannot be broken down by chemical means, consisting of atoms which have identical number of protons in their atomic nuclei, which means element, it is a pure substance. It cannot be broken down by chemical means. The examples are hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen, etc. So these are the elements. In periodic tables we have so many elements. I think it is around 107 elements. Those are pure substance. Those substance we cannot broken down by chemical means. The other term is compounds. It is a combination of different elements known as compounds. Examples are, for example, if you take water, it is a combination of hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen is one element oxygen is other element. This combination will give water, which is compound. The other example is carbon dioxide. It is a combination of carbon and oxygen elements. This combination will give carbon dioxide. Next, methane gas. It is a combination of carbon and hydrogen. Here carbon is one element, hydrogen other element. This combination will give compound, that is methane gas. Now let us see what is atom and what is molecule. The elements are made up of minute and chemically invisible particles known as atoms. That means elements are, it is a combination of atoms. Okay, it is each and every particle. The next term is molecule. A molecule is an electrical neutral group of two or more atoms held together by chemical bonds, which means molecule will form when two or more atoms are bonds chemically. So that is the definition for molecule. Which is here one more term is electrically neutral, which means both protons and electrons are equal. Positive and negative charges are equal. Now let us see what is atomic mass. The mass of an atom of chemical element expressed in atomic mass units, which means the mass of atom is atomic mass. Each element will have different atomic masses. Here in this table you could see here different elements and their atomic masses are given. For hydrogen, atomic mass is 1. So actually hydrogen is the lowest atomic mass element. So initially scientists have taken hydrogen as the reference. From that reference they given atomic masses for other elements. For carbon it is 12, for nitrogen 14, oxygen 16, sodium 23, magnesium 24, sulfur 32, chlorine 35.5, calcium 40. Now let us see what is molecular mass. Molecular mass is the mass of given molecule. Different molecules of same compound may have different molecular masses. For example, if you take the oxygen, oxygen is O2. For oxygen, atomic mass is, here you can see in this table, 16. So here 2 is there, so 2 into 16, it would be 32. The total atomic molecular mass is 32 for oxygen. Same way, if we take hydrogen, for hydrogen atomic mass is 1. Here 2 is there, so 2 into 1, 2. Molecular mass for hydrogen is 2. This is the way we calculate the molecular masses from the atomic mass.